sort of home to the artistic world of Manhattan slash. Like
Okay.
that's what it is right now.
Yes.
It's like this mix of like the local history with, the transplants from Manhattan.
From the city,
So
yeah.
it's like an interesting mix. That's what it makes it what it is.
Yes. So visit Bellport, Long Island with me, a beautiful fishing village that's been discovered by Manhattan's art and fashion set. These two communities have made this little beach town into a chic and laid-back coastal reprieve from the world and the hustle and bustle of the city. There's nowhere else quite like it, not farther out in the Hamptons, not closer in the city. It's very different than the North Shore, and it has some of the most beautiful water views and sunsets anywhere you're gonna find. So this week, come and join me in Bellport, Long Island.
Oh, you're such a good speaker.
A most welcome invitation spurred a trip out to eastern Long Island. After a few days in New York, I was desperate to escape to the fresh air and peace and quiet of Bellport. En route, just sitting in traffic on the highway, the banal and drab scenery of strip malls and overgrown medians took me right back to my childhood. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the low moan of the train whistle in the distance were familiar in a way that was deeply unsettling. Because somehow, after being reminded of how ubiquitous those sounds were, their absence was immediately exposed. The ocean, the bay, and the fragrance of the dunes were perhaps the strongest memory triggers to a childhood spent on the beaches of Long Island. While the beauty of Southern California's beaches is legendary, they are often shrouded in cool mist and clouds. The East Coast barrier islands on a sunny, warm day are their own unique delight. The soft, powdery sand, the herbaceous fragrances from the wild dunes, the scent of the biologically rich bay, and the bracing freshness of the Atlantic Ocean combine to a near-perfect experience. The rich, luminous, late afternoon sunlight has made eastern Long Island a legendary destination for artists. The amber sunbeams dance across lawns, walls, and floors with a brilliance that mimics light-emitting honey. Jackson Pollock, Winslow Homer, Max Ernst, Andre Breton, Enrico Donati, Cindy Sherman, and Willem de Kooning are just some of the artists who have made eastern Long Island their home and inspiration. One of the best things about moving away from your hometown is releasing yourself from all of the memory triggers that you have inadvertently created. My mind connects most strongly with places. Somehow I have a near-perfect memory for location. As more and more memories drifted up to the surface of my consciousness, I was reminded of the moment when I heard about the concept of soul loss. The notion that traumatic experiences cause a portion of the soul to be lost and affixed to a specific place and time. I remembered so clearly the uncontrollable sinking feeling and the stinging tears welling up in my eyes as this was described. Giving a name to this phenomenon brought every one of those experiences to the surface simultaneously. Until that moment, I wasn't aware of the jarring absence of portions of my own soul, and I was devastated. But that was only one specific moment in time. Watching the golden sunbeams dance across the green turf, listening to the rustle of the breeze through the verdant oak and maple leaves, and smelling the gorgeous coastal summer air brought back this memory to the surface. The years have advanced since then, as the waves bring the rising tide on shore, with them bringing an expanding waistline, but also the realization that I've never lost anything I didn't choose to, and I have more soul than ever. What a ridiculous concept! And as deeply negative a self-fulfilling prophecy as you could ever find. When I still lived in New York, I spent lots of time on Long Island, especially in the summer. Feeling such a sense of childhood familiarity without the childhood home to walk into left me feeling displaced. The passage of the years, 15 since leaving Long Island, 6 since leaving New York, somehow struck me all at once. Feeling so at home, but not at home, left me feeling distinctly unmoored. As someone who prefers to keep his emotional thermostat set on 0 degrees, the sensation of memories coming to the surface was confronting. Some memories predated consciousness itself, and could only be experienced by the senses. As I voiced my displeasure of experiencing emotions and sensations beyond my choice, my hostess let me know that, that's life, deal with it. With those wise words in mind, I built a bridge and got over it. The gorgeous East End Long Island summer awaited. Staying with my elegant hostess in her serene, minimal country home was like going to a spa for my mind. Cooking and eating local farm fresh produce and seafood caught that morning made me feel better inside and out than I had in a long time. It was a welcome reminder to not get bogged down in the drabness and routine of day-to-day life, and to consciously delight my senses, and elevate those mundane daily experiences. After all, it takes just as much effort to accept the rote and mundane as it does to create experiences that delight and inspire you. What makes Bellport unique is the juxtaposition of 2 communities in one: the year-round fishing village and the chic weekenders from the city. The end result is a very artistic and sophisticated community that is also very relaxed and welcoming. There's a laid-back, friendly character that sadly has been obliterated in most towns east of Shinnecock Inlet. The vernacular architecture is a great blend of history of different ages: Victorian, Queen Anne, Second Empire, and coastal barn. The homes were created to be enjoyed with plenty of family and company in the great weather. My thoughts were with everyone in the city during the last heat wave. The heat island effect of the radiant heat on all of the buildings, roads, and sidewalks keeps the city from cooling down overnight, making the summer heat waves unbearable. I'm sure people were happier than ever this summer to escape to the leafy and fresh coastal countryside. Little Bellport Village itself is an outpost of style and civility on the South Shore. Quirky and chic boutiques offer all manner of irresistible gewgaws and artisanal knickknacks. I was in heaven, being able to gorge myself on freshly caught local seafood every day. Nothing tastes quite as good as fish, crab, scallops, clams, and mussels caught off the East Coast. Combined with the freshly picked produce from the local farms, I had such a deep sense of well-being. Finally, the rainy, cool weather broke, and Bellport's residents-only stretch of Fire Island, named Ho-Hum Beach, beckoned. Ho-Hum Beach is anything but an ironically humble name for a pristine 5-mile stretch of the barrier island known as Fire Island. Accessible only by ferry, it's a massive contrast to the crowded Fire Island beaches closer to the city. The entire Saturday we were there, we were only ever one of 20 or 30 people at any given time. The peace and tranquility of being on such a lightly populated stretch of this beautiful ocean beach was something I have never experienced on Long Island before. I had been to Smith Point Beach, immediately to the east of Ho-Hum Beach, the Labor Day weekend before Hurricane Sandy. Even 7 years after the beach and dunes are still recovering, there was full inundation of the barrier island during Sandy, and the saltwater intrusion is visible today by the amount of dead trees. One of the most beautiful features of Fire Island was the abundant ocean pine forests behind the dunes. They anchored the islands with their strong roots, more so than the grasses. But the grasses will have to do for now, because there aren't many trees left. Nonetheless, the beach is looking beautiful, with soft powdery sand and clean sparkling water. On this day, we were under a big, gorgeous East Coast summer sky, with dazzling silver white clouds overhead that looked straight out of an oil painting. I couldn't believe how lucky I was to be enjoying such a beautiful day. We walked to the beach between Ho-Hum and Smith Point Beach and just soaked in the beauty and took big lungfuls of fresh ocean air. Wildlife was abundant, with ample bird life and dolphins swimming offshore. Just like when I was a child, I hated to tear myself away from the beach. But now, I'll be moving from the ocean to the Great South Bay and watching the sunset. In this peaceful and tranquil location, we sit and observe the sunset. The dancing reeds and the colorful reflections on the water. I love filming sunsets. It creates a context that forces you to sit and observe nature for a fixed amount of time. Not only do you get to enjoy the changing light and the unique show that each sunset brings in that moment, but you can also enjoy it again and again. Today at Mother's Beach in Bellport, I'm observing one of the most beautiful sunsets I've seen all year. Thank you for joining me in Bellport, Long Island, on this trip down memory lane. I'm Will Brennan, natural lifestyle expert and founder of Desert Mountain Apothecary. I hope watching this video inspires you to unplug a little bit and go out and find beauty in nature. Just spend some time outdoors, out in the fresh air, and you'll have such an increase in your sense of well-being. Until next time, remember, it's better to be looked over than overlooked.